are here, okay, ready to interview Miss Tami Roman. I know you guys see that we are missing a member. She had some things to take care of tonight, but we're going to get this in, okay, with Miss Tami. Tami, how are you? How have you been?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I'm doing well. I'm, working and trying to be a
Let me
wife
see.
and trying to be a mother and, hoping I'm giving everything the time that it needs.
Balancing. The
Yes,
balancing
For
act.
yes,
sure.
it's,
Yes.
yes. That's how it is right now.
Okay. So I feel like I've seen you in almost every black drama show. Okay, these days. And I love it. So how many shows are you currently on?
5.
Oh,
Dang.
Yeah,
damn.
yeah,
That's a
5.
lot.
I love it. That is a lot. I
I mean,
love
no,
it.
I'm thinking about it from a standpoint like you being an actor and having to learn so many roles.
Mhm, mhm,
Oh,
mhm. Well, one of them is reality. That's caught in the
car.
act,
Hmm.
unfaithful that I do with VH1. So I don't really have to learn lines for that per se, but I just have to know what's going on with the case. But the other 4 shows, yeah, it's a lot of lines all the time. But thank God my memory's holding up. I'm like, well, thank you, Lord, because
I'm
there'd be some
for
days I
sure.
walk in the room and I'd be like, why the hell did I come in here? But then if you put some sides in front of me, I can memorize
I
it.
remember, gotcha. You just mentioned Caught in the Act.
Yeah.
Now, we were expecting that show to drop, I believe, in May of this year. But
Hmm.
what was the reason for the pushback?
Because I was on a show that I do called Truth Be Told. And so they wanted me to be able to focus. Because, see, the thing is, as much of a blessing as it is to have that many revenue streams, the networks don't view it that way. They don't care, right? So when you're working for them, they want you to promote what you're doing for them. And so with Unfaithful, it's like I'm on the set of Truth Be Told, and I couldn't promote Unfaithful because I'm working on Truth Be Told. So I had to
Right.
wait to be able to focus on what VH1 needed me to do. So we moved it to July when I like that 2 week span
Mm-hmm.
between the shows that I had off that they were like, okay, let's release it now. That way she could do the press and she could be engaged and all of that stuff.
Okay. Is it
Gotcha.
coming back for
Okay.
Yeah.
another season?
That's a,
It
yeah.
is. We actually start production on Saturday. So with hence what I said, in
Yes, got
our
you.
text messages. So we
Yes.
start production on that for season 2. We got a 20 episode order and then dead smack in the middle of us, like signing off and saying okay to 20, they made it 26. So
Oh,
we are very,
wow.
very
Mm,
excited. Yeah. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Yeah.
That's big.
It is.
Oh,
It
Lord.
is. People seem to like the show, and VH1 really supports the show. So, I'm excited about it. I'll be working for the next 8 months.
Come on,
That's
God.
amazing. Yes.
Right? Come on, God.
Yes. Okay. So we're gonna switch gears for a second. Like I
Mhm.
was telling Jamie, I've been reading Jeanette McCurdy's book. I don't know if you
Okay.
heard about what's going on
I
with
have
her
not.
book. Her book is really good, but one of the biggest parts of her book is her talking about her like eating disorders and things of this nature. So of
Okay.
course, while I'm listening to her talk about it, I'm thinking about you.
Oh, okay.
And you my friend in my head. So like when stuff like that come up, I be like, oh, my friend Tammy had that problem. Like that's that's really how I be in my head.
well, you wouldn't know it from the reviews you give in my show, Bondy.
I give good reviews
I
of
said,
that
do she
show.
like this shit or she don't? I
I
said,
do like it. I do like it. And I listen, the last one was the only one that I had something negative to say. That was the
Oh,
only
Lord.
time I had something bad to say. But you know
and
what? We
we're
gonna
going to talk about that, but
yes,
we're going to get into this book first.
yes, right. She is still like struggling herself, like as
Yeah.
she
Mhm.
explains it, like even up to now. So it made me think of you. And I remember you were saying in your interview how, you hate having to talk about it all the time.
Yes.
But I also felt like you never know who hasn't heard about something and they haven't connected the dots. So I wanted to ask more so, how do you deal with the body dysmorphia than, anything else, but just how do you deal with it, like coping with it day to day?
I've, like you said, to me, it feels like I've said this before, but maybe somebody didn't hear it. Every day is a challenge, in terms of how I view myself, because just to give people an understanding of body dysmorphia, it's where no matter what someone else says, it's what you see in the mirror. Like for my case specifically, it's what I see in the mirror. And so when I look in the mirror, I'm always fat to me. There's always something wrong to me for me. And so when you have that type of, because it's really a mental disorder, right? So when you have that, you're constantly working on reworking the wires in your head to not view yourself a certain way, to understand that whatever's going on, you're perfect how you are. So that's the challenging part, is to get myself to believe that, because I'm 52 years old, and since I was 13 years old to 52, that is always the way I've thought of myself, is I'm always fat. And there have been moments where people have seen me at a heavier weight. Those were my times of depression, that people didn't know that I was dealing with that. People didn't understand that it was a very down part of my life. And I kind of let myself go and gave up. Now to everyone else, it's like, you look great to us. You look healthy, right? To me, I'm looking at myself going, I'm obese. Like I'm the 600-pound woman and I just don't care about life anymore, when that really wasn't the case. So it's just learning how to reprogram my mind to be okay with myself. And so when I first spoke about it on the reel, I think I was like, I don't know, I may have been like 110 pounds or something in there. And now I'm 135 pounds, and so every single day my husband is like, babe, you're beautiful. You look amazing. Like, let's just keep on this healthy road, eating, I'm not going to eat 6 times a day, but I will, I'm right at 3 right now, and that's working for me. I'm putting, more weight on. But still, when I look in the mirror, even though it's if someone looks at me, they'll go, you look good, right? But when I take off my clothes and I look in the mirror, it's like, if I see a fold, or if I see under my chin or under my arm, then all of a sudden it sends me over the edge, and it's like, I gotta stop eating again, or I gotta, I abuse laxatives. Like, there's all kind of things that you do to, keep weight off of yourself. Or I'll go get surgery, whatever the thing is the most drastic to get me back down to the 110 pounds where I felt I looked amazing and everyone else thought I was on crack, So, it's just, it is challenging. And I'm not making light of it. It's just learning how to heal from that trauma that sent me that route in the first place. And, every day is a process to try to program my mind to know that I am okay. I'm beautiful. I'm perfect. I'm whatever's going on, Tami, you're good. And so I'm working on that, and it's working right now. It's working.
Good.
I'm genuinely happy to hear that too. Like,
I know,
because like, I know it is weird when you don't know people, but then you kind of watch them, and then they be knowing who you are, and then you really be like, girl, I do her. But like, I really be rooting for you in so many different ways, and when I found out, when you talked about it, and then understanding how like it really is like an everyday type of thing, to hear that you are in a good place with it, I'm just super duper happy to hear that.
Thank you. Thank you. Better than before. Better than before, for sure.
I do have a question about like surgery. Like, have you had any surgery, BBL, anything that may have affected your health at all?
I haven't had a BBL. I had liposuction on my thighs, which I think everybody saw me do that on Basketball Wives when I think it was like the second season going into the third season or something like that. I had liposuction, and I had butt injections, which is different than a BBL. Yeah.
Oh.
Because I think a BBL, I'm not really sure what a BBL is, but I think what what I've read is that they take fat from you and put it some. Okay, so no, that's not what I had. I had the actual injections to plump up my butt.
Did it affect your health at all?
It hasn't. I actually feel like it's gone away. Like when I lose weight, because when I got the injections, then I was on Basketball Wives at the time. I'm trying to remember the exact timeline. And I was heavier. And I just felt like, oh my God, why did I do this? Like, this ass is too big. Like,
I remember you saying that.
Yeah,
I remember you saying
this. Right. And so I was like, I got to figure out a way to get this off. And so that was one of those moments where it sent me down that road of like, now I'm just too big. I'm big when I turn to the side. I'm big when you look at me in the front. I don't like it. And I, started on my journey of trying to get it off, losing weight. And when I lost weight, I didn't have the butt anymore. I was back to my regular butt. So I think I got some temporary bad injections.
How about that? Did you go to like a doctor, or did you do like the motel?
The doctor came to me, but it was a doctor.
Okay.
It was a doctor. It wasn't the black market, like, girl, bring yourself. It wasn't that. But it was a physician. But, because I was on TV, I was able to parlay that into, I don't want everybody in my business type energy. And I would like a private session. And so the physician did come to my home to do it for me.
And was it silicone?
I wasn't, I'm going to be brutally honest. I was not at the time that I got these injections concerned with even asking.
Damn.
I appreciate the honesty.
I'm being completely transparent. I was like, okay, you the doctor that knows how to make me have a bigger butt, and I don't have to do like the fat and all that stuff. Give it to me, whatever it is. Come on to my house. I pay the extra. Give it to me. And that's really how it was.
Do you regret anything?
When it comes to it, in terms of surgery, or in terms of
in terms of the injection, lipo?
No, I don't regret anything. I think, like, I did it the right way. Here again, it was a licensed physician, so it wasn't no black market stuff where all of a sudden you got health problems and, nodes and all this other stuff. So I don't have any of that. And I just feel like it's not there anymore. Like, really and truly, it may have been, I think they do like saline, sometimes injections, and I think it kind of dissolved on its own within my system. Yeah. So I don't even think I have them anymore, but I don't have any health problems or anything like that.
Well, that's good to hear.
That's good.
Child, K. Michelle show have everybody scared as hell, child.
Yeah, I think K. Michelle did something different, right? Like, I don't know her exact story, so I don't want to lie, because I do not need K. Michelle calling me.
She did do something different, but her show, she had a show on Lifetime, and it just showed a lot of like the different types of surgeries and how they go bad, and you have
underground basement surgery.
Some of them were regular though. Some of them were like regular doctors and stuff that they just didn't do it right. They go to other countries and stuff like that.
Yeah. I know a lot of girls who go to other countries. I guess it's big in Colombia, and a lot of girls go down there and get teeth and ass, and tits and everything else that they're offering down there. That's just not something I would do if I was gonna engage in plastic surgery or cosmetic surgery ever again in my life, which I don't think I would. It's definitely got to be a U.S. certified, I'm looking at all the credentials on the Better Business Bureau. I'm looking at the medical boards. I'm making sure, you know what I'm saying? I'm making sure they're good and they know what they're doing and they're licensed. So, and that's how I've always approached all my surgeries. Oh, and I had a breast reduction too, many, many years ago. So that's all the surgery I've had. So now everybody knows.
Okay, well, we're glad you left your face alone, child, because they out here doing too much.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they are doing a lot with the face, and that's just not something I would ever. I don't want to. Now, give me some Botox. I get some Botox.
Yeah,
That's not
maybe a little
technically
filler.
surgery.
No.
Yeah, you know what? I tried fillers one time in my life, and it made me look like a monster because I had an allergic reaction to the fillers. And so I literally had to go like 4 days later and tell them to dissolve them. Because, you know, with filler, that's probably what I had in my ass with some fillers because it's not there anymore.
And they dissolve.
Now that I
That's
think
probably
about
what it
it.
was.
Yes, now that I think about it. But anyway, yeah, I had to go for 4 days and get it dissolved because I had an allergic reaction to it. But I still get Botox, but I would never get like plastic cosmetic surgery on my face. It's just going to be my face till I'm in the coffin.
I love to hear that. Okay, so what's the biggest misconception the public may have about you?
That I am ghetto and I fight everybody I meet. I think that's the biggest misconception. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Is there anything else? And that I'm a bully. And I'm none of those things. So, you know, but I get it. I understand the show that I was on and the imagery that was put out there, that someone could walk away with that perception of me. It's just unfortunate that that particular show did not show any of us, not just me, any of us in other facets of our lives so that you could see that we're not one-dimensional people, you know. So I think when people meet me, they're quite frankly surprised that I'm nice, I'm humble, like, you know, I'm respectful, like, you know what I mean? Like, I really try to be a good person. And so I think I'm educated, I'm articulate, you know, so I think they just are surprised, like, wow, you don't walk around with a bonnet and boxing clothes and, you know, all of that. So, you know, oh, okay, that's not the Tami that I wanted. You know what I mean? And some people want the other people, like, well, bitch, what's going on? You know, it's like I have that. I do have that, but that's not all I have, you know?
Right. Yes,
I'm just
multidimensional.
reminiscing and laughing at Tami from back in the day. Basketball wise.
Because I would get it going. I mean, I still will get it going. Like, I don't want to act like that's not me, because that is still me. But that's just not all there is to me. And so, you know, I try to operate from a space of professionalism and, you know, compassion most of the time. But then if you mess with me, then you're going to get what you asking for. And I think that's anybody walking. If somebody mess with you, Bondy, they gonna get what they want.
Absolutely.
You know,
somebody else on live today.
That's right.
Yeah. So yeah. So there's that.
Now, speaking of reality TV, you recently did, I believe it was the Real World LA reboot.
Yes,
and you've
the Homecoming.
You've had issues with one of your castmates in the past. I believe it was David.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you feel the need to apologize to him after all these years?
I wasn't apologizing. So good. I'm glad you asked this question. My apology to David was based on the fact that when they had him leave the house, that I wasn't more vocal in that's not what I wanted, because I had had a conversation with the producers, and my solution to our being in discord was, you know, because we all had our own houses. We all, you know, I had a job, like people, you know, so it's like it's not like I was needing to live in that house. So my solution was, I will go to my place. I'll come here, you know, when I get off work, and we can film, and then I'll go back to my place. And when I came home from work one day, we were voting on who the new roommate was, and David was gone. And so I think that, you know, that the way that it was presented to the world affected him once we got out of the house. And so I felt like he was deserving of that apology of like, yo, I could have been more vocal. I was 23 years old. I wasn't, you know, it was what it was at the time. But I feel like if your life went in any path that was detrimental due to that action occurring, then I want to be able to apologize for that.
Yeah.
And so that's really what it was. Homecoming was like a place of closure for me. You know, I didn't need to do Homecoming, you know what I mean? But The other cast members wanted me to come because I don't know, and this is not being like bigging myself up, but I don't know if they would have done the homecoming if I didn't participate. And, you know, there were several cast members that were like, please come and do it. So I said, well, let me figure out why I need to do it and what's the point of entry for me doing it. You know, am I going to get anything out of this? And what came to me was me and David having this conversation, me just being able to explain to him what I was dealing with at that time so that he could understand my body dysmorphia, which I was not aware that that's what it was called then. I just knew that something was wrong, and I wanted to explain that to him as well as apologize to him. So, you know, that's why I did it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I still feel he was wrong in the moment.
Okay.
He knows that. Yeah,
Okay.
No, he knows that. He knows that.
Okay.
He knows that. I still feel like when I said leave me alone, that's what it should have been.
It should have stopped. Like
he should have
pulling
stopped.
you into the hallway shit. Like I ain't gonna lie, like I was very young. So I didn't see it that first time. So I watched the reboot only because you were on it. And I was like, okay, it's Tami, so I'm gonna watch it. And I watched that shit, and then it made me go look for what happened.
The original.
Yes. And I was like, she don't need to apologize to that for nothing.
Yeah. No, the apology was not about the act. Like I feel
it was
like
about
the aftermath.
Yeah, which I understand.
Yeah, you know, because, you know, reality TV was new. None of us even really knew what we were doing. You know what I mean? People didn't even understand what reality TV was. And so after the show went off, however his life turned out because of that moment, that's what I was apologizing for. I'm sorry that it went awry for you. Now, can you apologize to me for what you did? That's what I was waiting on. That's what I was expecting.
Instead of him messing with you about your wigs the whole damn listen.
I didn't get it. And that's when I realized, you know, like some people have a hard time figuring out how to move on and heal from trauma, right? And what I learned in that moment is, although I've moved on, like I haven't thought about any of those people, no shade, no tea, like not nary one of them, you know, until they asked me, they called me and said, can you do the homecoming? Like I wasn't thinking about the real world. So for me, it's like I moved on. I don't even think about that stuff anymore or talk about it. But being in that moment with him, I realized that that's all he has thought about, and that's all he has talked about since 1993. Like
didn't he do Dave Chappelle and everything after that though?
He did. And so that's why I was like, you know, to certain people, it's like y'all trying to make it seem like he was just destitute. Like he went on with his, like I saw David maybe twice, and I saw him in Beverly Hills. His daughter's mother lived in the same building as my mother in Beverly Hills. Like this guy was not struggling,
right?
You know, and so I didn't want it to seem like, you know, that he was completely destitute or that his life just went in complete disarray. But I am cognizant that there may have been some moments where it didn't elevate the way he may have wanted it to, based on the trajectory he was trying to accomplish when we all came into that house. You feel what I'm saying? Just like me. It's like, well, you know, when I came into that house, like I got a singing group, I'm trying to put these records out, you know what I'm saying? Type energy. So there were few of us that we knew we wanted to be in entertainment. And so it's like you look out at me and, you know, compared to, you know, for lack of better verbiage, I've done well, and he may not have done as well. And that's what I was apologizing for, because I do think he was talented, you know?
Yeah, he was a good writer on Dave Chappelle, from what I understood.
Yeah.
And listen, Stinky was on my favorite house party. So
yeah, you know. He was on house party. You know, he's done a lot. You know, I don't really like to talk about him because I don't like to get him started, child.
Okay. Listen, I don't think he'll see this, but you know, it don't matter. All right. So let's switch gears. Right. So it sounds like your daughter Jazz music was used in the intro, right? Because that's what
Yes,
it sounds like. I know her voice.
yeah. That's
That's
Jazz on the theme song for House of Vicious, and then Lyric plays one of the characters on the show.
yes, the
Yeah.
one of the
That's dope.
assistants.
I
That
was
is
like a family
so
affair.
dope.
Look
I
at that.
loved it. I was like, yes. Look,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
husband being here doing the most when the little intro come on. It's not going down, it's going up. Like, yeah, it's nice. We like it.
Yeah, yeah. One of those
How
moments where you have
important?
an opportunity to help your family, and you do.
That was going to be my question. I was going to ask how important was it for you to have your daughters involved in that?
It was very important. I mean, like it wasn't a given, so I'll be clear with that. Like with Lyric, she had to audition for that role. Like even though I'm one of the executive producers, I'm not the only executive producer. And so she had to audition and everybody had to sign off, and she did the work. She studied the material, she came in, she killed her audition, she delivered what we needed for the character. So then it became a matter of, well, why not for everybody else? Not for me. It was like, I want my daughter to get the job. But for everybody else, it was like, well, she did what she was supposed to. She not whack, So,
Right.
why not give it to her? So it was one of those moments. And with the theme song, we couldn't find one. We was looking for the perfect theme song, and then I was just like, well, are you guys opposed to me looking through Jazz's catalog? And they were like, no, please. And we found that track and we kind of felt it fit. And so it just all worked out.
I love that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
So speaking of Jazz, she's dating
Speaking
Persuasion.
of Jazz, were we speaking of Jazz? No.
I mean, I was kind of like trying to segue into her just a little bit.
I see what you did there.
So she's dating Persuasion, I do believe, from Bad Girls Club. What are your thoughts about that? Do you like her? Have you met her? What are your thoughts?
I have met Persuasion. What are my thoughts on it? If I'm being honest, I want my daughter to be with a man. So
Really?
that's my real heart of heart answer. Like, and I don't feel no ways about it. I think that there are plenty of other mothers who, when they look out at their daughters, they want them to have a husband and some babies, right? However, with Persuasion, I like her. I had the opportunity to meet her. She was very, very nice, very respectful. I know that she's older than my daughter, and so I had to have that conversation with her, about, this is my baby, you know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know what's happening or how long this, relationship, friendship, situationship, whatever the hell they got going on. I don't know how long it's going to last, but what I want you to do is be mindful that that's my child. And if there's any moment that you don't want to be with her, it's not working, that y'all be respectful towards each other, and not embarrass each other. I said all that to say this. I've heard a lot of things about Persuasion, but I will say I heard them all from her. So when I look out and I see stuff on the gram, it's really not anything that she didn't tell me. Like I said, when I took the opportunity to sit and meet with her, and she was very forthcoming and very honest about every single thing. And I had to respect that. I had to, at the very least, respect that she was open and honest about everything she's done.
Okay.
So I stay out of it and let them do whatever it is they're doing.
All right.
Okay.
Well, some people do reality TV and they get stuck in being just a reality star. Did you find it difficult to transition back into acting after being seen as a reality star for so many years?
Yes, it was very hard. Because all of the casting directors that were in the game when I first started, they they're not around anymore. There are a few staples, but most of them have gone on in other avenues of careers. And so a lot of people weren't familiar with me on the actor side of things. All they knew was the craziness that was out there on Basketball Wives. So a lot of casting directors didn't want to bring me in. They didn't want to let me audition. This was before COVID, so it wasn't about self-tape. You had to really go into people's offices, and they just wasn't feeling it. And I think the first thing I got was a show called Extant with Halle Berry. And that casting director didn't know anything about Basketball Wives. And so she brought me in for this audition for Halle Berry's show. And I went in and I was like, I ain't even going to get it. This is Halle Berry. They're going to watch this shit on Basketball Wives and they're going to say they won't be affiliated with me. So I literally went in a tank top, some jeans, and some Adidas slides and did the audition. And the next day, I got a call that said I got the job. And I was shocked. I was like, what? Okay, and when I showed up for work, Halle had left me a note and said, I couldn't think of anybody else to play my sister other than you, a badass black bitch.
From Halle?
Oh my God.
Yeah. And we've been friends ever since. So, she was really, that was the first thing. And that started the train. And then Carl Weber put me in the family business to play the character London. And it just kept, going from there. Yeah, it kept going from there.
So in between the time of you booking the Halle Berry, the role with Halle Berry, my question is, how did you stay motivated? Because it sounds like you had quite a few doors that was just shut in your face based on that. Yeah. How did you stay motivated?
I'm not going to say that I was motivated. I was very depressed. My mom had passed in 2013 and that took me down a rabbit hole. And then I wasn't booking jobs and I wanted to get off of Basketball Wives and nobody was letting me. I was extremely depressed. I thought I was a lesbian. It was a lot going on. It was a lot going on.
We're going to have to talk about that. Because how the hell?
When your life ain't just how you want it to be and, somebody halfway show you some attention and make you feel like it's going to be all right, and they listening to your cries and all that stuff. And it happened to be a female and I thought I was in love. But crazy. Yeah, it was definitely one of those times, like that period from like 2012 to 2015. Was really? I was really, really depressed and sad and didn't have my mom and living in Texas and just feeling like nothing was going right, but I had 2 daughters, right? So it's kind of like, you can't give up. You got to figure out how to keep going, right. But it just was, I can't even find the words because it was a really tough time. But once I got the job with Halle Berry and then Carl Weber gave me family business, that's when I was like, okay, God, you're still in the blessing business and I still matter to you. So let me get my mind right and start doing what needs to be done. Yeah.
I'm glad it worked out.
That's good. Perseverance.
Yeah. More than perseverance, I think it's just faith. And I know that seems a little cliche, but it really is the truth to just have an understanding that you can't lean on your own understanding, right? That you got to know that because you are operating and functioning as a child of God. And I think a lot of people mix up like time, right? Because we here as human beings, we process time, like 30 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes or whatever. God doesn't do that. And so when you feel like, well, damn, how come I don't have a job by now? That's you processing time, right? Mm-hmm. God is going to bless you when he feels like you're ready to step into that blessing. And I figured that those couple of years, it was like I had to learn to grow up. Like even with the passing of my mom did everything for me. Like she was literally my best friend. And when she passed, it was like I didn't know how to do anything. Like it was like, wait, what? How do you? I gotta figure out how to pay the bill. You know, it was like, you know, because she used to do not that I didn't know how to write a check and pay bills. That's not what I'm talking about. But just like, okay, so now I got to stay on top of. I got to get these bills out by the first, and I got to do this, and what Lyric doing for school, and what's like all of that stuff, managing all of that. I wasn't doing any of that. And so when she passed, I had to grow up and really be mom in a way that I had never experienced before because I always had a crutch. And so I felt like once I got that, that's when he said, okay, now you're ready. Now that you got your life together, you want to work, you want to act. Okay, I'm going to give you I'm going to put you on something with one of the biggest actresses in the game. You see how that operates, and then I'll give you something else. You do that right, I'll give you something else. You do this right, I'll give you something else. And so that's just kind of how I've been floating through, is just knowing that there are lessons to be learned and keeping my faith at an all-time high, that God is never going to leave me comfortless or without, as long as I'm doing what's supposed to be done and learning the lessons along the way.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I really feel that. Yeah. I've been doing this shit for a long time.
Well, I'm a fan of yours. You know, I came across you when I was still on Basketball Wives, and you used to review us. Yes. And I never like really listened to anything that you said, right? Like, so I just wanted to hear you talk, like your accent. I was just like, I love how she sounds. And so it could like be background noise. You could have been like, Tami ain't shit. I would have never known. It just was like, I just want to hear that New Orleans accent. And I fell in love with that. And then, I've watched you grow too. You're following and your own show and everything. And I'm proud of you and what you've got going on. So I feel like, we kind of both were at a point where we were trying to navigate something. And, now, we see the fruits of our labor, but, yes. I've been a fan of yours. So, yeah.
Likewise. Okay. It's crazy. It's crazy for you to even hear you say that.
Yeah. See, I like to hear you say that,
Nah, I
like to be real thick. It used to be real thick back in the day. Like, it was like real thick. And sometimes I didn't even know what you were saying. I was just like, I just like it so much. Like, and that's how I feel about Super Scent too. I don't know if you know her from New Orleans, but it's like sometimes I don't know what she's saying, but I just be in love with the accent. I always wish I had more of a an accent that like stood alone rather than like New York or whatever, just like something like that. But anyway. Yeah.
So Tami, out of all of the roles that you've played, which one is your favorite though? You still can probably remember the lines to this day. Which one is your favorite?
I love all the shows that I'm on, just for clarity, because they're all so different. So they all give me an opportunity to play something else. But when I go to work on Truth Be Told, and I get to work with Octavia Spencer and Ron C. Jones, and like that's just like an all-star cast of, Academy Award winners. It really feels like a master class, because Octavia is like so perfect, like so great with her acting and her chops and her timing, and Ron so like in tune with the character, so and dissecting everything. And so when I'm there, I love that because I'm learning from them, right? Even though I bring what I bring to the character of Lillian, I always feel like I'm learning something else. But I have the most fun on the Miss Pat show, where I played Denise, her older sister on that show. So I have the most fun there, but I learn the most on Truth Be Told. And it feels like family on the Family Business, because we all started it together and we're all still doing it, together. And then the House of Vicious is like my baby. So of course I love that.
That's amazing. Okay, so I feel like I know that at the beginning you wanted to model, but did you always want to act?
No, I never wanted to act. Acting was not a part of anything I wanted to do. I wanted
Really?
to, yeah, I wanted to model. Like I wanted to be there's a model back in the day. Her name was Linda Evangelista, and she had she's a white girl, but she had
I know
this
who that
red
is.
short cut. And I even tried to get the cut. That's where that cut came from. You know what I mean? It's like I wanted to be the black version of Linda Evangelista. And that lady, ruined it for me, and I just never followed that path again. So then I said, well, I'm gonna sing. I'm gonna be in a singing group. Can't sing, but I'll be the rapper. I'll be the rapper. Because that was hot back then, right? You had two
Hmm.
girls and then rap. So I was like, I'll be the rapper chick. And I never wanted to act, but when we did the Real World, like I said, people didn't know that it was reality TV and we were being ourselves. So they thought we were acting. So as soon as I came off the show, I had agents contacting me, and then they just start putting me out for jobs. So
Wow.
that's
So you were
really,
kind of just
yeah.
kind of thrust into that.
Yes, yes. I was
That's
thrust
crazy.
into that, totally thrust into it. Now, I have some talent, so I was booking jobs and I was good.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until John Singleton, may he rest in peace.
Yes.
He had Boys in the Hood, his first movie, and he put me in that movie. And I went and I had no idea that I was bad until I went to the premiere of that movie and I was edited the hell out of the movie.
Because I'm about to say, when I tell you I have watched that movie a
Oh
million
yeah.
times, I would have saw you.
Right?
All you see are my legs. All you see are my legs.
Child.
That's literally all you see. All the lines that I said is gone. But I still get my residual checks. But yeah, he cut it
Hey.
out. Yeah, he cut me the hell out of that joint. And that's when I said, okay, so I'm not doing something right. And I went to go study. And I ended up studying with a lady named Chip Fields, who is Kim Fields' mom, who
Ooh.
was an acting coach back in the day. So
I know who
yeah.
Miss Chip Fields is.
Yes.
Okay.
That is
Yes.
Yes.
so
Yes.
that's giving full circle
Mm-hmm.
because Kim Fields is the director
Yes.
and
Of
the
House of
executive
Vicious.
Director
producer of your
EP.
show.
Yes, she's the director EP on House of Vicious, one of them. And she did all 8 episodes for us. And, the whole time I was just like, well, I can't make myself look crazy because her mama, the person that taught me how to act, child. So I got to show up, But it was good working with her because it felt like, here again, it felt like family. But House of Vicious wasn't something that I was supposed to do. Like my partner, Jill Ramsey, who's the creator, she had this idea. It was a great idea. All she had was like a synopsis and a deck. And I knew the writers, Amalika, and Amalika had a partner, Tashonda. And so I was like, well, you should get with these people and they could write it for you. Y'all could talk about all the stories that you want to, say as it pertains to House of Vicious, and y'all write it. And that's what they did. And then she was like, well, who do you think should play this? Who do you think should play that? And I was like, bam. And like, this person should be Raven. This person should be, like, as soon as I read it, I was like, this really be perfect for Avery and, all of this. And then she was like, would you want to play Chantel? And I was like, would you want me to play Chantel? Really? Because because it was so good. I had read the scripts and I was like, are you sure? Because friends in business sometimes it'd be messed up, and I didn't want to have that relationship because she really is my sister. And she was like, no, I want you. If you want to do it, I would love for you to play Chantel. And that's how it came about. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is okay. So let me ask you this. There are a lot of similarities between you and the character. Was that already a thing? Like wanting to be
You
a
think so?
model? Well, the model part, and well, she was in
The
fashion, but I still felt like that was a very similar thing
Had
about the wanting to
nothing
be a model.
had nothing to do with me. Not one
Wow.
single thing to do with me at all. Like at all. Like this Jill has been in the entertainment business for 20 some odd years. And every character is based on somebody that she has come across or may have worked with over the course of her years. And it's just kind of set in a fashion backdrop, right? But the characters are individuals that she may have come across that she then used creative liberty to make the characters bigger or what they are, right?
Okay.
But yeah, it has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with me. Now she did work for Wendy Williams for about 15 years, but that's,
Okay.
you know.
So did you notice any like similarities to yourself in Chantel?
The only thing with Chantel that was easy to play because of the story was being cheated on, you know, by your husband, because I've actually lived that moment,
Right.
you know. So having those real emotions was like, oh, I know how to play that. You know what I'm saying? Like I know how to
Right.
feel for that one. But Chantel's on drugs. She's, her
Yeah.
mom and her didn't have the best relationship. You know, that
Those are
that isn't my
different.
life. Yeah,
Right.
that's not what I come from. So yeah.
Okay.
Now we do
Mhm.
see where Chantel is kind of engaging in a, sexual relationship with her employee. And you
Mhm.
mentioned that you thought you was in love at one point with a woman. So my thoughts are just, if you had a girl crush, who would it be?
Mhm. If I had a girl crush, I ain't thought about that since I left that shit alone in 2015.
I am.
I don't even think about women in that way. Let me see. Let me see. If I had a girl crush, ooh, uh, maybe I don't know. Like
See,
I'm really
it's
trying.
too hard. So,
It's too hard. I'm really trying to think. Like if I were to look at somebody, oh,
but see, then that makes me want to ask the next question, which is, was it hard for you to play a bisexual woman on this show?
when it comes to acting, I don't put any hindrance on the performance, right?
Hmm.
So from that standpoint, it's like I have been with a female before, so it wasn't awkward to do that, right? It wasn't
Okay.
like weird to do it. It's just now that I don't do it, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like in my personal life, it's like in my personal life, I don't do that. But in terms
Right.
of acting, I was able to do it because it's not something that was completely foreign to me.
Okay. And see, I felt like it was like, is she okay with this? Because I know she doing this, but I also feel like they don't want to show us no scenes of them really touching each other. So I was trying to
Well,
figure out.
I do want to give you some backstory on House of Vicious, because I watched your review this week.
Hmm.
um, and so let's dig in, shall we?
Go
No.
ahead.
Um,
Go ahead. I'm ready.
the truth with House of Vicious is this was shot for a small streamer that goes by the name of Urban Flicks. That's who we had our original deal with.
Okay.
Urban Flicks then joined partnership with For Us By Us Network. In the
Mm.
interim of them doing that, we approached BET about like, hey, do you like this show type energy, because we wanted to get it on a bigger platform. Here's the thing. When we did the show for Urban Flicks, they were 30-minute episodes, which in TV world is between 25 and 28 minutes. In order for BET to take the show on, they had to now become 1 hour episodes, which in TV world is 45 to
So we
48
fill in
minutes.
time. Got you.
Yes.
Got
So, to speak specifically to something you said, no, there wasn't nothing else on the cutting room floor.
you.
There was no other scenes. There was no shit left off. We used every piece of anything that we could,
Got
and
you.
we stretched it as long as we could to make these shows an hour because we really wanted to move over to BET and live there. But House of Vicious is a great show as far as I'm concerned, that we didn't have the time to cover all the things because originally it was only supposed to be 30 minutes.
Got you.
So that's why you don't see a full love scene with Chantel and Raven, because we just didn't have the time. And we shot all 8 episodes in 21 days.
Okay. Gotcha.
So, we were just
I'm enjoying the show though.
We were trying to get the major stuff.
I keep saying.
Yeah, we didn't have to see a lot with Raven and Chantel. I feel like it was pretty explanatory. Like you could tell from the beginning when you guys had the issue with the wig. I was like, it's something about the energy and the chemistry here. I think they probably got something going on. Yeah. And I was proven right by the end of the scene.
Now that's not to say, season 2, we won't delve into that, because you also have to take into consideration your other actors, right? Like, Tiffany and I are friends in real life. We did my show, Bonnet Chronicles, together that used to be on Tidal.
Yes.
And that's how, I came to know of her. But, she may not want to do, you got to be respectful and mindful of what, people's boundaries.
Comfort level. Right.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I have a question. When you speak on comfort level, and it's going back to acting in general, how do you get comfortable and prepared to have sex on TV or in front? Because you got a lot of production people standing there watching you. Yeah. And I'm just wondering, how do you mentally get in that space to fake your moans and actually make it believable? I'm just wondering.
Well, most women have been faking since they started fucking, but I mean, we just do what we normally do. No, but it was you just do it. I mean, like this, you have a conversation. Red is an amazing actor as well. He's been doing this a long time, so he ain't hard to look at. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like some big 300. Let me not say that, because then I'll have the 300-pound dudes like, what's wrong with us? That's not what I mean. But he's easy on the eyes.
Yes.
He's always smell good, got a nice body, so it's not hard to like want to engage. But you just do it. I mean, acting to me is not about acting; it's about reacting, right? And Red and I were having this conversation earlier. That's where people go wrong. We don't show up trying to act. We just look at the lines, memorize the lines, and try to be authentic in the scene and react to what somebody else is giving. And that's what makes the best scene work, right? So if you're in a love scene with somebody, how they touch you, and then now you got to react to that. You know what I mean? Like, so it's all just constant reaction to make the best scene work. So yeah, it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy. When you want to do it.
Right. Okay. So the next question. After you, I feel like actresses like Kenya Moore have played a role of reality TV villain. And now looking back, do you think you created like the prototype for the reality TV show villain? Because I think before you, people were actually like being like that. Versus when you did it, it was like, okay, season 2, this is me. But season 3, I'm kind of acting now. And then kind of proceeded to enmesh the two. And I feel like that's essentially how we got like Kenya being a villain on Real Housewives of Atlanta. And now, Drew Sidor, there are people that are acting. So do you see how you influenced?
You know what? I wouldn't have considered myself a villain. So that's interesting for me to hear, because I wouldn't have considered myself a villain. I think that from season 2, which is when I joined Basketball Wives, I thought I was very nice to everybody. I really felt like I was just here again, truthfully being in those moments and like if something popped off, I'm going to handle it how I legitimately would handle it,
Right.
right? So me and my interaction with the other girl that was on the show, you basically disrespected me about my own marriage. Like, who's gonna sit there and let somebody do that, right? So I'm not trying to be a villain. It's just like you got
to be clear, you weren't the villain on that season. That's not the one I'm talking
about.
Okay. I meant
okay.
Yeah, no,
okay.
I mean after your first season. Because I heard your interview with Carlos and you talked about how, like, after that your first season, which was the second season, it was like, okay, now I know I have to like do some acting with this.
Yes. Oh, okay. I get what you're saying now. And even in that, I wasn't trying to be the villain. You know what I was going more towards was just being like the realest one.
Yes.
Like handling stuff like on some for real, like on some for real SHIT. You know what I mean?
I think that's how it came off at the beginning. Like, for real, like I absolutely feel like at the beginning, like when Royce was still there, like I don't think I saw you as like the villain. But like when the seasons went on, I feel like by the time
tell me which season you're talking about, because I still feel like even within those moments, I wasn't trying to be a bad guy.
You weren't trying to, but I think it's the way they made it seem. Like, I didn't even know you were talking about, okay, so like when the thing happened with Mika, I know you feel bad about that now. But like when that happened, it was like, damn, I can't even defend Tami on this one. And then
she was talking and she was lying. She was talking and she was lying. And
with the way she walked out of that club, like I was like, poor thing.
She was talking and she was like, and then here's the thing that people don't even know. Mika didn't care about none of that. Mika's hair was cocked to the side. Mika got to the hotel. It was like, what time are we filming tomorrow? Like, she didn't care. She didn't care. But it was, and it was one of those moments of like, okay, well, she don't care. I don't care. We just keep it going. Everybody was drunk. Everybody was lit that night. It's like, it is what it is. It wasn't until hindsight when I looked at it and I was like, Tami, why did you do that? Like, you didn't need to put your hands on this woman. And then she was getting so much backlash that it was another moment. Like, it was important for me to apologize to her, like, because the scene didn't really have to go down like that. You know what I mean? Because really and truly, like I said, she was like, well, what time I gotta be in the lobby tomorrow? Like, she didn't care. It was like, okay, we fought, moving on. You know what I mean? Type energy. But there
like,
were other. Go ahead.
To be clear, the only other time I could think of where I feel like it was bad in the way it was coming off, and then it kind of just became the franchise itself, the Keisha shit. Yeah. But don't get me wrong. When that shit happened with Duffy, I was all on your side. I was like, yeah, I don't like her. She talking too much. Why she still talking? Tami walked away. Why you still talking?
Right.
So yeah, it wasn't like, for me, it wasn't the whole time.
So there's two different moments that are happening there. Okay, so with the Keisha stuff, which is why the apology came from a place of this. If you felt bullied, I apologize for that. Right. Because in my mind, they had the same conversation with you that they had with me. That nothing was happening on this vacation. You guys are here to do a job. People had shown me clips and footage of everything Keisha had ever said about me to give me the ammunition to talk to her. So I felt like we were being produced. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So to me, it was like, I'm not apologizing to you for some shit I feel like you knew too. Like, your performance just wasn't as good as mine, but we both was acting. It is what it is. Somewhere along the way, she said she didn't know any of this stuff, which I was oblivious to. Because here again, I'm thinking they're telling you exactly what they're telling me now. Let's show up. We're at work.
Right.
She came out later and said that she didn't know any of that. Like, she was legitimately scared. She was legitimately whatever. And here again, I was just acting. To me, I was acting, and with the purse situation, it's like, she can come to my room and get her purse. It's like why is she making like really and truly? If people just really don't understand how it was at that time, it's like why. My thought was like, why is she making this a thing? Like, she know we just was, you know what I'm saying? Like, we was putting on, come get your purse, girl, I'm trying to lay down. You know, it was really like that for me, you know?
Right.
And I had no clue that, you know, she didn't view it the same way. So when people call me a bully, it aggravates me and annoys me because I feel like they're not really comprehending what was happening with reality TV at the time.
They not, because we weren't. I don't think I feel like just now, like in the past few years, we started to
starting to see it. Yeah.
Yes. And now I be calling the shit out every time. Like, nah, stop that shit. That shit look fake. Y'all producing that. Yes. Whereas back then, I don't think we really could see when things were being produced. And when people, I don't think we had that understanding of it, especially as like reviewers. Because, you know,
right.
We just watching the shit like everybody else. Like, oh my God, you know? But I do feel like it was more of a portrayal of you than who you really are.
It absolutely was at that time. And then you talked about Duffy. The thing with Duffy was, and I'm going to give y'all this exclusive. So Duffy and Brandy came on the show together. Duffy and I had a conversation about that scene. And she knew that I was going to fire her. She was then supposed to leave and go like, I got to get it together. Like, I'm gonna show Tami that I can really do it, you know, because she just fired me, right? What happened was Jazz and I had been filming already all day. So by the time we got to the scene where Duffy was supposed to come meet us, I don't know if you guys remember this scene I'm talking about, but she came to tell me about the video and I fired her, right? So I'm still thinking the scene is going to go the way we already discussed it, if that makes any sense, right?
Right.
Her, Brandy, and I all knew how this scene was going to go. Jazz and I had been filming, so by the time we got to that scene, I took my shoes off because my feet were on fire. But when Duffy walked in and saw me without my shoes on,
she thought she was gonna fight.
She thought it's time. Tami's gonna try to fight me.
It's go time.
Right. So that's when the whole like dynamic of the scene changed, because then she was like, I don't want to beat your ass and all of this other shit. And I'm like, where, in my mind, I'm like, where the fuck is all of this coming from? Like, you're supposed to leave and go, I'm going to change. I'm going to get, you know, like, so to me, it was like, wow, she really fucking flipped it on me. She's trying to get her 15 minutes. So after the scene, I called Brandy. I was like, yo, your girl is bugged out. Like, she totally flipped the scene. And that wasn't cool. Like, you know, like, I thought we had an understanding. Brandy was like, I'm going to talk to her. So Duffy and I didn't have any more scenes between the time I fired her to the time we got to this vacation. And all I'm thinking about was like, because, bitch, the last time you said you was going to beat my ass in front of my daughter. Like, I'm just like, what is happening? You know, like, so it's like, well, look, we got to address that, bitch, because that's the road you went down. So now we got to address that. And if you guys remember, she was like, I don't got no problem. I don't want to fight. It's all good.
Right.
I left and was like, cool. Ain't no fighting. Maybe I might be able to enjoy this vacation, going on about my business. Duffy and Brandy went back to their room, and Brandy was like, you looking like a punk. You looking like a punk by not wanting to fight Tami. You got to represent. So that's why when we get back, the scene where it finally exploded, I don't know if you guys remember, we went around the table. Does anybody have a problem?
We remember.
No. Nobody had a problem. Cool. Everybody's minding their business. I'm sitting down eating. You know, I'm like, fuck, this ain't got shit to do with me. Everybody else get it popping. You know what I mean? Like, whatever y'all want to do. You know, where's my lamb chop child? You know. And then all of a sudden, she comes out of the blue with a problem because Brandy's tapping her like, remember what we talked about? You're gonna have to represent. And how people get on is to go after the ones who are relevant at, for lack of better verbiage.
Oh,
So
we
it's like
know.
you get on the show, you go at Evelyn, you're gonna be pop. You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden you popping. You go at Tami, all of a sudden you popping. And that's what that moment really was. That's all that moment was because I was totally like, okay, she don't want to fight. Perfect. I can just sit still and be quiet and collect my check. But Brandy coerced her into that fight because I don't think Duffy really wanted to fight me. And quite honestly, I didn't know her to want to fight her. We hadn't had much interaction. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It only came from the moment of her saying, I will beat your ass in front of your daughter. And you can't just say that to me.
Right.
Like, that's disrespectful. You know what I mean? So now we got to address that, And once I felt we addressed it, I thought we had moved on. But, she got talked into something by her friend at the time. And, ultimately she was asked to leave the show because of that.
So I have a question. And we're going to wrap up. I just have a question. You said something. You said a way to get on is to come at pretty much the popular people of the show. So now I'm going to go to OG. I kind of have a two-part. One, would you say that was OG's tactic when it came to Evelyn?
No.
And then the other question is whether or not you guys are still in contact today, you and OG.
Yes, still talk to OG. No, OG really legitimately came on that show being herself. Now, let me just tell you guys something else. When they were like putting OG through the casting process, one of the producers came up to me and said, she's ugly and she doesn't dress well. Wait till you get inside and see what she has on. And the first thing that came to my mind was, that's exactly how the fuck y'all did me. This is bullshit. This is some bullshit right here. And so, I don't know, OG's mad cool and I'm glad we are friends, but I don't necessarily know that I would have been as concerned with being her friend had they not said that. You understand what I'm saying? Because it's like, y'all trying to make it so nobody don't like her. And that's not cool because that's exactly what y'all did to me. So it became my mission of like, yo, she cool to me.
It was very gratifying too. I was so glad you was doing it. I was so glad.
Yes.
Yes.
So, but it helped that she really was a cool ass chick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I just think that by the time OG came on board, I was checked out. So I wasn't really as much of an alliance as she may have needed to stay in that situation because nobody was willing to fight for her. Right. And I've always been a person that's like, right is right and wrong is wrong. It's not about who's popular, who's whatever, it's like right is right and wrong is wrong. And everything that they did to OG was wrong. Like I saw it with my own eyes. It's not something that she's fabricating. It's not like, she's making up stuff. It was wrong how they treated that girl and how they did that girl legitimately. And that is the honest to God truth. So by the time that I left, it was really her against the world because nobody was really messing with her because she didn't back down. She has a very clear point of view and she has a clear sense of self. You know what I mean? And when somebody doesn't have that, they're very insecure around somebody who does. And so they weren't going to like OG. They weren't going to like her because she caused them to look at themselves and see where their inadequacies fell. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so it's unfortunate because I think she's excellent TV. I think she would have been good for the show. I did not watch the season that I wasn't on, but I did see clips when they would end up on the blogs. And, there was such a teachable moment for them to like address what OG was concerned
Yes,
about,
and they refuse to.
and they refused to. They just tried to minimize her feelings, her
Yes.
concerns, and act like she was crazy. And
Mm-hmm.
that's not true. I saw it at the beginning of what they were doing to her. So she was right. They just didn't want to take accountability.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the quickest thing to do when, you are in a position of power to do so and you don't like somebody is get rid of them. And that's ultimately what ended up happening to OG, which should not have. Like right now, OG should be on that show with those girls. I think it would be far much more entertaining.
Yeah, because it was boring as hell. I didn't even
I've
review the last
heard.
episode.
I've heard.
God, been stopped.
I was,
I've heard.
it's just I feel like, it's one of them
Boring.
times where, you don't do right by people and things eventually work themselves out to me because I'm not interested in the show. So, and I know a lot of people weren't. They lost a lot of ratings after that. And they should have. So it is what it is. But I'm glad to see that you have gone on to do so much better. To have your own show at the same time as their failing show on the same network. Okay. Okay.
So many of her own shows.
And I love it.
That's big.
Happy. I'm so happy about it. And I love seeing you on all of the shows. But Miss Pat, girl, I'm gonna tell you, that one right there. Oh, that did me in. I was like, oh, Tami, this it. Like I'm watching it like, yeah, that's the one.
we have the most fun because Pat is legitimately crazy. Like, when you see that character, those are her real stories. Like a lot of our episodes are based on her real life. Like she was legitimately shot in the head. She was like all of that stuff. Nobody's making that up. This is her real life, and we just bring them together, bring those, words off the page the way they write it and flesh it out. But we have the most fun on that show.
Yes.
That's awesome.
All right. So wait, is House of Vicious getting a second season? Do we know yet?
We're waiting. We are waiting to find out. I do hope they give us a second season because I would love to be able to do the show the way we envisioned doing it. Yes. And, having the money and the time to really do it properly. Not that it isn't good. We did the best we could with what we had, and we think we put something amazing together, but I'd love to be able to really expand on those stories for season 2.
Me too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What else can we expect? I know you're about to start filming this weekend, Caught in the Act, right? So will we be expecting that this year? Or
we got 26 episodes, so it probably won't be until the top of next year, because we got to get all those in the can and stuff like that. But it's gonna be long. It's gonna be a long road.
Are you still auditioning? Even though you're busy, just anything. Are you still able to?
I thought you meant like auditioning people to be on Caught in the Act. Yes, I'm always auditioning. I'm always looking for the next thing. Because if I get 2 weeks and I can fit it in, I'm going to fit it in. That's, you got to have at least 7, right? 7 revenue streams.
Streams of, 7 forms of income. Yes.
Yep. So
any other things you want to let the people know about that you're working on before we go?
No, me and my partner Jill are getting ready to do another project together, and we're excited about that. We got some holiday movies that we're producing and another scripted series that we're getting ready to start producing. So we're just excited, and we love our writing team, Tashonda and Amalika, and we're a family. Like once we get started with something, we keep the same team. We bring all the same people with us if it's in our power to do. And that's how we roll. Even with you, Bondy, it's like we love us some you, and so as we go, you go. You know what I mean? It's
thank
just,
you. No,
that's just how we get down.
No, I really wanted to thank you because I knew when Jill hit me up, I was like, this is Tami's doing. I was like, this is Tami's doing. I love her. So I really appreciate it because honestly, it came at a time where I wasn't in the best spirits. And it was kind of like, keep doing it.
A
Keep
diversion, right? A diversion to like say,
keep going.
get out your head.
Yes. So when
Mhm.
you know, when seeing you now after all of these years, and then knowing that you had these moments where you felt like, I don't know if it's gonna happen, and you just kept going, and to see you now and to see you all over the place on several different networks and everything, you definitely are giving, the Cheryl Lee Route feeling. Okay, like we
Yeah.
are.
Very much
Yes,
so
I'm
inspiring.
excited about all that Black excellence.
Yes.
Wasn't it so good? I mean, man, it was
It
so
was.
good. It was so good, and her speech was amazing. Now we got Viola with Woman King. I mean, it's just
I saw
so
it last
good
night.
right now.
Yes.
It's so good.
And I love to see all the queens winning
Yes,
and doing their
yes.
thing. And you are definitely one of those. So I'm
Thank
so
you, thank
appreciative
you,
of you. Thank you.
thank you, thank you. I enjoyed this,
Mhm.
ladies. I really did. How long did we talk?
No, I'm waiting on her.
Over an hour and 15 minutes. But
Ooh,
listen,
y'all had
we
me
thank
talking
you.
because I usually be up out off of people's stuff about 30 minutes in. It's like I got to go.
It
But
was
I
slow.
enjoyed talking to y'all. Yeah, I enjoyed talking to
Thank
y'all.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
I was
We
glad
hope
we
you
was
have a
able to fit it
wonderful
in.
night, Tammy. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
Absolutely. I appreciate y'all. Let me know when it drops.
All
Yes.
right, we'll do.
Okay. All
All
right.
right.
Bye,
Bye
y'all.
bye.
Bye.
All right, y'all. So that wraps up our interview with Miss Tammy Roman, honey. So y'all be sure to look out for her shows, House of Vicious. Okay. We got Caught in the Act, Truth Be Told, girl. It's so many. Just go follow Tammy so that y'all can be up on all the details. Okay.
Yes.
We are the ladies of Ooh Ladies First. So definitely be sure to follow us on all social media platforms. Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.